Dr. Ziegler, Labour's own Home Office minister, says that, and I quote, immigration is tearing this country apart. This all looks like a good idea, you might say.
Well, thanks very much for having me on the show. I certainly don't think any of those plans are good ideas. I think we can go through them one by one. We can start with the idea that the government wants to target people that the government itself recognized needs protection here. That's why they got refugee status in this country. And as your correspondent said, what they want is for people who are here to have to wait for 20 years before they can settle here permanently. That's worse treated than any other migration group, and it's entirely out of step with other countries, other liberal democracies. It's also against the UK's obligations in international law. It's a plan that would put their lives of those refugees in ongoing limbo, this sense that they cannot commit to any long-term presence here because at any point they could be deported. It's also, as your reporter said, means that every 2.5 years there needs to be a reassessment of their situation in an overstretched Home Office that anyway is unable to deal with the number of applications it has to deal with now. So somebody who has fled Eritrea 20 years ago under a dictatorship would have had to have their applications reassessed every 2.5 years to see whether there's still a dictatorship they need to flee from. So that bit of the plan is utterly irrational. And some of the other elements that you've just mentioned, for instance, around the potential Trump-style visa ban on three countries, Africa. Imagine if you've got somebody who is fleeing the Democratic Republic of the Congo, has seen one of the most atrocious conflicts in the last few years. How are they supposed to get to the UK legally if there's going to be a visa ban? So this is just, again, going to introduce them arriving in the UK regularly and then billed as some sort of a threat to the United Kingdom. So those are just two examples of the list your reporter suggested of policies that are both against international law but also entirely counterproductive.
If you accept that the UK does have an immigration problem, are you saying these are simply the wrong tools to fix it?
Well, I mean, I think framing. Firstly, I think it is wrong to conflate the UK's protection obligations towards people fleeing persecution and conflict with the wider immigration debate. I think there can be a debate to be had about how many people the United Kingdom wants to admit in order to work in an economy that needs workers, like the care sector and others, how many people the UK wants to admit as students each year, in under what conditions. Those are entirely separate debates to the question of what the UK is bound under international law and under morality as well to do in relation to people fleeing persecution and conflict. I think we all have recognized that the UK needed to do something when people were fleeing Ukraine. That's why the government of the day established specific schemes that, without caps, allowed people from Ukraine to come to the UK, to apply to come here without having to board any boat to cross the channel. And for some reason, the same logic that applied to Ukraine doesn't seem to apply when we're thinking about conflicts in Sudan, conflicts in Afghanistan, conflicts in Gaza, conflicts in the DRC. And I think that's very troubling, and it's particularly troubling for a Labour government to be adopting this type of mindset and rhetoric.
Professor, great to talk to you. Thanks so much for your time. I'm sure we'll speak again in the coming days. Dr. Ruvi Ziegler, Associate Professor of International Refugee Law at the University of Reading.